the full moon, new moon, or the full moon is the new moon, controversy continues. This right here proves that Bishop Nathaniel watches all our videos, especially mine, because I did a video recently on the subject of the new moon, and that the new moon is not the full moon because Yahweh Shah was put upon, was crucified on when the moon was full, and that was the 14th. The 14th. It was the 15th day actually, because the night before that, which was the 14th day at evening, they ate the Passover lamb, and then he was judged. He was portrayed by Judas Iscariot, which Judas Iscariot is not burning in hell for you, boneheaded Christians out there. And they scourged him, they judged him, they found him guilty. The Roman soldiers beat him. The whole story. And then it was the next day that the sentence was, in the daytime, that you would be executed by the Romans at the behest of the wicked leaders of the Israelites at that time, with the people following what the wicked leadership of Israel at that time did. They set him up to be put to death because they didn't accept the fact that he was the Messiah, which some of them did know, but they, because of their pride, and plus they were doing pretty much the same thing that Judas Iscariot was doing. The Spirit got on them to be against the Messiah, to fulfill prophecy. So anyway, he was put on the cross. Now at the the 6th hour, which is 12 noon, there was a darkness for the space of 3 hours. Now I did some more research, and I found out if you do the research yourself and you say how long does a lunar eclipse happens during, you have solar eclipses and you have lunar eclipses. Lunar eclipses take place on a full moon, when the full moon is up in there. So that was 2 weeks into the month, proving that the new moon is that sliver of is a sliver or slither, something like that. Sliver. That sliver of light where you can't see the moon, that's the new moon. When the moon is full, that's a full moon. When he was up on the cross, it was during the full moon. Hence, you had a lunar, not a solar eclipse. See, we have to study everything. You have to be in the spirit of the Church of Berea. You got to study everything. So what I did was, they say, well, a lunar eclipse only takes place for 2 minutes, and that's true. But the longest amount of time, I did the research, and it said a lunar eclipse could last for more than 3 hours. And I believe the longest lunar eclipse happened for 3 hours and 40 minutes, and I did the research on it. I encourage you to do the research on it yourself. So if the longest lunar eclipse took place for almost 4 hours, then certainly, if that's a fact, then certainly it makes sense that the darkness was upon the land for 3 hours, for the space of from the 6th hour of the day to the 9th hour of the day. So, I don't have to say anymore. So, Bishop Nathaniel, I go to his page, I'm skimming through it, and he said, and I'm gonna let you listen to it, and then I'm gonna close. So, we're right, and then not only us, but all the other camps are right. But see, the difference between GMS and compared to the other different camps, they don't defend it. See, all those camps would be lining up saying that Bishop Nathaniel is wrong about the new moon being the full moon. As a matter of fact, I remember when he just started teaching it, when he first started teaching it, That was in the fall of 2016, and we condemned it. And a handful of individuals woke up out of that zombie curse and said they ain't with it, and they fell out the truth. They should have got with GMS, or they should have kept pushing Israel, or got with one of the other camps, ICPK, Sakari, HODC, or whatever. But just for the record, we here at GMS defended the fact that the new moon occurs when you look up in the sky and there's no moon. And he's going by the fact that Genesis 1, verse 14 and 15, there was two lights. There was lights in the sky, the lesser light, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. So it had to be a full moon. And that could be the fact that the Most High created as a full moon. But that's only part of the month. The first day of a moon that is not, you see the slither of the slither or the sliver, I get mixed up with that, of light, which is the new moon, which we call the new moon. There's the moon's not ruling anything. It takes a week before you have a half a moon. How does it go? Right, you go through the cycles. You have a quarter, then you have a half a moon, and that's in 2 weeks or 15 days. You have a full moon, and then from the 15, 16 day, you have the same effect of quarter moon, half moon, but you have it going in the other direction. And that's in the Apocrypha. What is that? If I'm not going to go to it. Somebody can put it in there. That's in the Apocrypha, in the Ecclesiasticus. It says in its perfection. So a moon in its perfection is when the moon is full. That's a perfect moon. You look up and you say, "Oh, isn't that a perfect moon?" You don't say it when it's when the moon is invisible. And the lesser light does not rule the night every day. The lesser light rules the night in the middle of the month. Then it starts. Is a thing called waxing. When you have that crescent of light, it waxes, meaning it grows. 2 weeks in, 14, 15 days in, it's a full moon. That's called waxing. And then it starts to disappear in stages. That's called waning. So if you go to the Apocrypha, the book of Ecclesiasticus, I believe is the 43rd chapter, it says it diminishes. I'm just using my words. You can go to the description, put it in there. I'm not going to look for it. No big deal. You know what I'm talking about. It says it diminishes in its perfection. So it takes 2 weeks to reach its perfection. So when does the new moon start? When you don't see anything, when you see that little crescent of light. So now I'm going to let you listen to show you that he watches all our videos.
Where we at? God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. And we get the lesser. He made the stars also. And he made the stars. When God first made, some people believe that God made a quarter moon. Made two, what's the term, brother? Great. A quarter moon is not great. Half a moon is not a great.
Yeah, but that is a full moon. I agree with you. And the Lord could have did that. No problem. I'll go with that. He illustrated what a sun is. There goes a sun. He illustrated what a moon is. There goes a moon. in its what? In its perfection. And then it goes back. It's a cycle. It's different from the sun. The sun comes up in the daytime. You don't see the sun in the nighttime because it's on the other side of Earth. The part of the month, you'll see the moon 2 weeks, like every, okay, the new moon, which we teach a new moon, you don't see anything in the sky. You see the crescent of light. I can hardly see the moon. 2 weeks in, actually a weekend, you'll see like a quarter moon. The second weekend, you'll see the full moon. All right. So if he's set up the full moon to illustrate that, okay, I have no problem with that. But that doesn't mean it's the new moon. the full moon is not the new moon. New meaning a newborn baby. Baby doesn't born is not born a grown man. It grows. You know what? Let me do this. Let me do this here. Ecclesiasticus, I believe, is 43. If not, it's 44. I hadn't gone through in a while. No, I'm sorry. 40. Let me go to 43. You put in the word moon. Okay, it's 2 times. He made the moon also to serve in her seasons for a declaration of times and a sign of the world. Sign in Genesis 1, 14 or 14 and 15, sign, season, days, and years. Because the moon is the body of lights in the heavens are also a signs of omens. Okay? It says, from the moon, is the sign of feast. A light, when does it become a light? When it's full, 2 weeks in. That decrease or decreaseth in her perfection. So right now it's saying the moon. What phase of the moon is this in? Is what the writer's talking about. He's talking about the full moon. That's 2 weeks into the beginning of the month. So the moon is the sign of feast. The Passover fell on a new moon. That was a 14th day at evening. 2 weeks into the month, the moon cycle. The Feast of Tabernacles, when the first day or that night of the Feast of Tabernacle, they looked up in the sky and there was a full moon. They said, from the moon is the sign of feast, a light that. And why did the Lord die on the Passover? Because he is the Passover. He was born on the Passover and he died on the Passover. He represents that lamb. That's all throughout the scriptures. He's known as the Lion of Judah, but he's also known as the Lamb of the Most High, because he represented the sacrificial lamb for the sins of Israel, starting with the elect. So there was a reason why when he was crucified, there was a full moon. And you can only have a lunar eclipse as opposed to a solar eclipse on a full moon. And a lunar eclipse can last for more than 3 hours. From the moon is a sign of feast. So now let's talk about the full moon. Passover is one feast that we celebrate on the full moon, which is not the new moon, and the Feast of Tabernacle. A light that decreases, that goes down, that wanes in her perfection. To decrease means to wane, is to get weaker, right? So when does the moon start to lose its light in stages? In her perfection. Her perfection is when the moon is full, when you see the light. That's in its perfection. When you got half a moon, you look at the moon and somebody says, when is the moon going to be in its perfection? You got to wait another week. So let's come back over here. Oh, they got me.
Back in verse 14 here, verse 14. And God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night. Let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years. Now, Rock 43, I believe it is. You know what I'm talking about? Ecclesiastes chapter 43 and verse 6. He made the moon also to serve in her season for a declaration of time and a sign of the world. From the moon is the sign of peace. And the moon is the sign of a light that decreases, a light that a light that decreases. So it starts off as a great light, then it decreases. Right? A light that decreases in her perfection. The month is called after her name, increasing wonderfully. Now, then it says increasing. It should be when you got to do our own. You see, you got full, right? But that's, the full one is really the so you notice it decreases to that darkness.
Now hold up. Wait a minute. Hold up. Stop the presses. He goes to an illustration and he didn't check it. What does it say here? It says new. That's when the moon is invisible. He used the wrong illustrate. Sorry about that, buddy, but you use the wrong illustration. That's a new moon. When the moon is invisible, you look up in the sky, you don't see no moon, right? Let me see. Okay, so now at the new moon, it waxes. That's the first. That's the first week. I'm sorry. This is the first week. This is the second week. The 14th day at evening was the Passover. When they celebrated the Passover, they look up in the sky and the moon was full. Give me a second. You went to the wrong illustration. You pulled this up and it showed you on this illustration right here that's the new. It says new. Why does it say new? New moon. It says increasing in her what? You can go back to it, 43. This is it starts with a new moon and it begins to increase. You see a crescent. Then you see the half moon, which is a weekend. And then you see the full moon, which is 2 weeks from the new moon. It says decreasing in her perfection. This is her perfection. This is her beginnings. This is the beginning of the month. It was the month of Bib, the first month of the year, the spring. You know that in 2 weeks, the Passovers come. So 10 days, you kill the lamb, you prepare the lamb, and you get everything ready. So when the sun goes down on the 15th, going into the 14th, going into the 15th, if you're outside, you're looking at a full moon. Then it decreases. It doesn't increase. It increases from here. Then it decreases, meaning it goes from here and you see less of the light. Go from here, you see even less of the light. That's like the third weekend, the third quarter. Then you see what is this? Waning, meaning it's going down, it's decreasing, not increasing. And then it comes back to the new moon. Let's listen to that again. So he definitely pulled up the wrong illustration. It's showing you right here. This is the new moon. This is the full moon. And never the twain shall meet. Let's look at it again. And see, somebody should have checked. You know, I would have said, well, wait, I question it, man. That's why the Apostle Paul, you know, bigged up the church of Berea over the church in Thessalonica, because they studied, they checked everything. And see what gets the people is go to Romans 16, 16, and 17. Read that, and now you know why these people don't question what he teaches.
Some people believe that God made a what's the term, brother? Great. The part of the moon is not good. Half the moon is not a
that doesn't mean that's the moon in its perfection. You just read that. Emphasizing the word new moon. And then you hear the explosion. And then watch him snickling and laughing.
And God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heavens to divide the rain.
I just want to stop here. It says Judah tree, right? I'll show you that these people come to get entertained. Bishop, we need you to turn up New York style. I'm not used to this, Dad. I call him Dad. That's what, hold up. The Waco, Texas, they call him Dad. I hope he ain't saying, I'm the dad. That's showing you that they're here to be entertained. They're here to be. All right, it says right here, Bishop, please don't let these women try to change you. Be yourself. ITT was getting on my nerves too. So they're like, not, please, you're not entertaining them like you used to. Oh, they're snapping on the bishop. Sigh, y'all turned our bishop into a tree hugger. They're snapping on this guy. Come on up. So they want to be entertained. Let's listen to some more. I'm gonna close it. You see this guy snickling? Like, let's see, Tahar, get out of this one. I'm getting out of this one as you're snickling. He's gonna lose just like he lost at the Cornelius thing. He's gonna lose just like he lost. That's just like he's gonna lose with the MOTB. He lost. This is easy. This is a first round knockout, man. I did a feint jab and I hit him with an uppercut and he went flat on his back. In the spirit, he lost. He lost this one. Anybody with half a brain could see that.
Some people believe that God made two, what's the term, brother? Great, great. A quarter of a moon is not a great. Half a moon is not a great. Talking about the
When the moon is in its perfection. What is it? What happens when it's in the perfection? It starts to wane. It starts to decrease. You read the scripture, didn't even pick up on it, and then you pulled up the wrong illustration coming up in a second.
Thank you. Back in verse 14, verse 14. And God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night.
Look at that Cheshire cat smile. Look at that. He said, now, how does nigger Tahar gonna get out of this one? That's what you call a Cheshire cat smile. Look that up.
Let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years. Now, if that in Rock 43, I believe it is. You know what I'm talking about? Ecclesiastes chapter 43, and verse 6. He made the moon also to serve in her season for a declaration of time and a sign of the world. From the moon is a sign of peace. From the moon is a sign of peace. Right? A light that decreases in light.
You just said go back. You said a light. The Most High didn't make half a light, quarter light. He made the full light. So he said, what? A light, meaning when it's this stage right here.
A light that decreases. So it starts off as a great light, then it decreases. Right? A light that decreases.
In a perfection, meaning a light, that's a full moon. It decreases, meaning it wanes. It wanes. It wanes. That's waning. That's what it means to decrease in her perfection. Her perfection is when the moon is full, not when the moon is new. So you see, he missed it. He didn't miss the bus on this one.
The month is called after her name, increasing wonderfully. Now, then it says increasing. When you see that, when we got it should be when we got to our own. Like you see, you got full, right? But that's, the full one is really the new moon.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
So you notice it decreases to that dark that says new.
It decreases to that dark moon, right? Says new, right? It said in its perfection. This is not the perfection. When it's light, it's in its perfection. That's why you say, oh, that's a beautiful moon. That's a perfect moon. You don't say it when it's at this stage, at the new stage. You say it when it's full. This is 2 weeks into the new moon, man.
Then you went to next what Paul said, increasing wonderfully in her change. Now,
when does it start to increase? Because it said in its perfection, it decreases. So when does it increase? It's called waxing, new moon. You see no light. Couple days in, you see this crescent. Couple more days in, you see half a moon. And then 2 weeks in, this right here is the first week. 2 weeks in, 14, 15 days in, that's when it increase from what? From the new moon, which is invisible. I can drop the mic now.
Everybody see that? Read. Being an instrument of the armies above, meaning angels in heaven, shining in the firmament of heaven. Let's go back to this.
Shines in the firmament of heaven, but not every day. The full shining of the moon is 2 weeks in. Before that, the first weekend of the new moon, you see part of the light. And you go and look at the moon yourself. See the various stages. This is the new moon, which they got it right. They use a wrong illustration. And this is the full moon when the moon is in a perfection. And what happens when the moon is in the perfection? It doesn't wax. It weans. It decreases. And then you have the new moon again. I don't gotta read no more. Anyway, with that, I'm gonna say shalom.